When a Patreon supporter buys a snake from me, they can expect it to be not only well started on food, but well started on socialization. It just takes a little bit of time and effort on my part, but it always works because I'm good at it. Or does it always work? And am I good at it? Because I've got this one dang snake. Welcome to the Green Room. I'm Bob Bledsoe. Look, she's a beautiful ball python, but she's full of hate and violence. You know, Kent, this might be a rare instance where I agree with you. Yes! Not really, though. Dang it. She's just fearful, and she's taking a long time to get used to things. She also does something that I wouldn't call normal behavior, and that is that she defensively strikes anytime she senses a heat signature. Anyway, I'm shipping her off to Matt next week, which means I only have between now and then to get her socialized. Kent, why is your shirt off? I'm trying to cool down so I don't have a heat signature. You know what? This is going to be a multi-day self-shot video, so you can go home. Ah, sweet. I'm out of here. I still recommend a shirt, okay? You're not Matthew McConaughey. Well, guess what? You're not either. And I'm wearing a shirt. 2 shirts. Oh, yeah. She's actually really well established and ready to go this week, but her new keeper Matt is out of town, so that's why I get an extra week to work with her. I walked her into the sun the other day from the shade, and she instinctively struck at the sunlight. And that's why I say that she defensively strikes anytime she gets a heat signature, because she got that and she just struck at the air. There was nothing in front of her. So let's take her out. She's in the hide here. She got ready to strike, but I'm reaching in from behind, so she didn't strike me, but she was ready to. I'm going about this a little bit differently. Normally, if you've seen my videos before, I would be opening the enclosure when I see her out, and I'd be, putting my hand there so she could tongue flick on it, and keeping the handling to a minimum, or at least, it would be part of the socialization process, but not every time. In her case, I want to give her the experience of, first of all, being handled so that she knows that she can be handled by a human and not get hurt. But I also want to give her a bunch of different experiences because this world has a lot of heat signatures and she doesn't need to give herself whiplash trying to strike at everything. Look at that. There's my hand. She's not striking. Oh, she did strike. Dang it. Scared me. I didn't think she was going to. Hi, folks. Future Bob here. Sometimes people ask me, hey, Bob, why don't you keep venomous? And they're right, maybe I should. But first, let's take a look at my reaction time. We'll go frame by frame here and make sure that my reflexes are up to par with keeping venomous snakes. Okay, here's the ball python biting me, teeth in my skin right there, and the snake has released the bite already, and just now I'm starting to react. So, I gotta think, if that was a rattlesnake, there would be a healthy dose of hemotoxic venom coursing through my system before my slow brain went, whoops-a-daisy. So I think I'll pass on venomous, but thanks for your suggestions. So at this point, it used to be that she did it every time, no matter what. Now she's getting a little bit more used to it. So let's see what she does with a coffee cup. Okay, I'm just drinking my coffee. Like this. Oh, good job. She only struck once. Yeah, so I don't want to get her all totally riled up, but it would be great if I could put things with heat signatures in front of her, and she doesn't do that. All right, let's see if I can get her relaxed while we're standing here. Okay, I cut the camera because I didn't know how long this was going to take, but it didn't take very long, like 3 minutes maybe. And so now she's just relaxed and moving a little bit. I'm going to let her do this for a little bit of time, and then I'm going to open her tub and let her find her own tub. So right now she's not scared of my hand. She's got a relaxed body right now. She's not all coiled up and tense and in a strike position. So at this point I just want to put her back. I don't need to spend a ton of time with her like that because I don't want to get her back to being nervous, because she could easily go back to that. So she's having a good time, and now she gets to find her own tub, and she gets to go in there. I'm not tapping her tail to get her to go in there faster because that scares them. The reason they go in faster is because it startles them. So we just let her go in, and she's back in her home. She can crawl under her little leaf or go into her hide or crawl into her toilet paper roll, whatever she wants. That's a good interaction for day 1. Good morning. It's day 2, 6:30 in the morning. Oh, I thought I wasn't going to get a hiss, but I did. But I didn't get a strike, so that's good. Let's go sit down with this girl. So I'm just going to chill with her for a little bit this morning and see how she does. You know, her new keeper, Matt, I don't think he's too worried about this. And, you know, if I was sending her off this week, he'd work with her, and I don't think it would be a problem. It would be a lot better for the video if I was like, the new owner's terrified of snakes, and I've got to tame this snake in 6 days, and the clock is ticking, and then we have a little clock in the corner of the screen. Be way better for the video, but that's not the case. You know, some new keepers are nervous. I'm putting my hand in front of her right now just to see what she does. Some new keepers are nervous of snakes, and so it's helpful to get a snake that's already socialized. But you know, anytime you get a baby snake, you kind of never know. I have a very small breeding operation. I say that even in air quotes. That's how small it is. And so I have time to do this kind of thing and work with these snakes. If I had a bigger situation, I would not be able to do this. So I'm not suggesting by any means that other breeders should be individually sitting with snakes, you know, for 15-20 minutes a day trying to socialize them. That would be ridiculous. I just, you know, I breed a small handful of snakes each year, and the ones that I sell to people, because I have the time and can do it, I like to have them socialized. It's pretty cool to have her crawling on me. This is not something that she normally would do. When I first started working with her, this would be, she would have been 2 weeks old, 2.5 weeks old when I first got back from my Amazon trip. I started working with her, and she would sit for 10 minutes in my hand in a strike position. So this is much better. So she is still nervous right now, but she's, at least her body's not tense. But her tongue flicks aren't long, and you know, what I'm looking for in those tongue flicks is kind of longer exploratory flicks. She is doing it, but they're still pretty quick. My point is that I want to get my coffee and see how she, oh, there we go. Of course. Okay, you don't have to do that every time. So I was just keeping that far enough away so she doesn't actually hit the cup, because I don't want her to do that. Would probably not feel good on her nose. I kind of want to test that with some of the other baby snakes to see if they'll strike at a coffee cup, because that's a, you know, hot heat signature. That it's a fresh cup, so it's pretty hot. Now let's see if she does my hand. Oh, she just tongue flicked on it. Okay, so that's great. I still think she might go for it, but this is actually great. She hesitates and tongue flicks to see what it is, and that's maybe something that's becoming familiar to her, so she doesn't feel like she has to strike at it. Okay, she's doing pretty well today. We've been sitting here for about 10 minutes or so. I'm going to put her back in a minute. There's, I have 2 of my clown het pieds. I've got a male and a female that are up and moving around right now. I think I'm going to get them and see how they react to a coffee cup. Did I get bit today? No, I didn't get bit this whole time. So that's really good progress. All right, let's get these clowns and see what happens. Okay, real quick, here's the male little clown. So a little nervous about that. Not a strike though. Let's see what the girl does. Hey, young lady. That looks like she's going to strike. Okay, so I can see her breathing. You probably can't from where the camera's at. But she got into a strike position, and her breathing got heavier. So that's a good sign that they think food's around, or that they're nervous, something like that. She definitely got keyed up on that coffee. You know, this is extreme heat, obviously, and it does make them curious. You know, like she doesn't know if it's food, she doesn't know if it's threatening, but it doesn't trigger them to strike right away. And that's what I thought was going to happen. I've never done this test. I mean, I'm sure I've held snakes while I drank coffee before, but I've never really thought about it. This, as far as I can remember, this is the only snake that has struck at a coffee cup. You know, they definitely notice it, the heat. Oh, there's a strike. There we go. Interesting. So I don't think it's good to necessarily, tease the snake with a really hot thing. I wanted to do it for this experiment to see how they would react to it. But, for this other girl, my thought is that it's kind of an extreme example of a heat signature. And if she's got that and she can sort of compare that to other heat signatures that she might come across, she doesn't have to strike at everything. Maybe an extreme one will make her really nervous, but the other ones don't have to be as bad as that. I don't know. I'm just trying stuff, Sometimes we logically think through things and we try to figure out what might work, and that's the best we can do, but really, you just never know, So hopefully the things that I'm doing with this snake over the next few days will work. But I don't know. I'm going to put these two beautiful clowns back, and then let's go to tomorrow. Good afternoon, everybody. We're in tomorrow afternoon now. We're going to just pull her out and go outside with her. So I'm probably going to get bit here. Maybe, maybe not. Ooh, look at that. I got a hiss, but I didn't get bit. That's the first time that I've reached in front of her without getting bit. So that was progress, that she let me reach into the cage. We're going to do this while I show the Patreon boards, patreon.com/greenroompythons. But I'll say this, I wasn't filming as I walked out here, but just like what happened several days ago, as soon as we got into the sun, she started striking just at nothing because of the heat of the sun. So that's a little crazy. But I was really happy to see that she didn't strike my hand as I reached in front of her. I did that because I thought for sure she was going to strike, and I just wanted to test it. So anyway, thanks to all those Patreon supporters. Look at how long the Patreon fence is. It's so crazy. And Black Box Cages, Lane Labs, and Gray Family Snakes, our channel sponsors. I really appreciate them. Morning. I had an idea today that I would set up a bit of a gauntlet on the countertop of things of different temperatures. My thought is that, anytime she's struck, it's been something of a high temperature coming at her or being presented to her. And I'm wondering if I just let her go on the counter and let her discover some things, if she'll have a negative reaction to it or not. And it might just be good, especially if she doesn't have a negative reaction, it might be good to just discover things of different temperatures. So let's get her out. I moved Tubbs around yesterday. This is her. Hi, little one. There's a hiss. No strike, though. She totally could have. So that's good. We're just getting some hisses. So let me turn the camera around and get that set up and get her relaxed and moving a little bit, and then we'll see what happens here. Here's what I've got is this battery thing that's at 96 degrees. I've got a cup with some hot water at 120. I've got a rock that's been sitting in hot water that is around 110. And then everything else is just normal. So what I want to do is just put her right here. It's been mentioned on, I think, Instagram before. People have thought, number one, that bronze cobra statue is real, which it's not, but that's not the point of what I'm saying here. The point is that a snake does not see that and recognize it as another snake. We do because we recognize things visually, but they recognize things by scent and stuff like that. So to her, those metal things are just inanimate objects. This is a great exercise anyway for her to just learn about things in the world, just come across things and understand that they're not dangerous, whether they have a heat signature or not. So that's kind of what I expected. She went right up to that cup, which still, let's see where it's at. That cup still is at 114. So she went right up to it and inspected it without fear. And that's kind of what I thought, is that she wouldn't be super fearful if she got to approach the thing herself, rather than it being presented to her. Also, I'm supervising this whole thing. She's kind of wandering around some pretty warm items, especially that light bulb, which I didn't really expect her to investigate. I kind of just used that for light, but I don't want her wrapping around that or anything like that. So this is an experiment that is 100% supervised. I'm not going to let her burn herself on anything. So she's heading up to the top of these hides, which is not where I really want her to go, so I'm just going to reset her. Let's put her right here. I don't know how warm that rock is still. Not sure how fast rocks cool off, but let's find out. Okay, still 101. Great. Now she's putting her body against that rock as she slides, which snakes tend to do on objects. They like to feel objects. And that's 100 degrees, but it's not going to burn her with her just slithering by it. If she was sitting on that rock for a period of time, that would be problematic. But her just coming into contact with it isn't a problem at 100 degrees, 100 to 110, something like that. Just touching it occasionally, not a big deal. And you notice she's doing that with the cobra too. They're comfortable feeling things on the side of their body as they move. So she's breathing heavy. I don't know if you can see that part of her coil, but I can. And she did okay there. Great. That's fantastic. I'm happy with this experiment. I think this allowed her to check out things of different temperatures, and nothing attacked her. It allowed me to pick her up several times, which is helpful for her to get that feeling of somebody picking her up and nothing bad happening. And now I am just going to let her climb up there where she wants to be and hang out for a little bit, and then I'll put her back. Good morning. She ate last night, so I'm going to leave her alone and we'll check in tomorrow. Morning. Let's see how she's doing today. I'm not going to do any coffee cup stuff today. No weird experiments. I'm just going to see. It's a hand right in front of her. She's in position, but oh, look at that. There we go. That got her keyed up. So I reached in right over the top. I talk about that a lot. If you reach over the top of them like you're a hungry falcon, that freaks them out. And that's exactly what I did, and you saw what her reaction was. This is a reactive snake, and she reacted, but she didn't strike. So now she's might be kind of more in strike mode. What do you think? What do you think? You recognize that? You guys, this is really good progress. Now she's starting to relax her body a little bit. She's still a little bit tense, but, compared to a couple weeks ago when I would hold her for 10 minutes and she would never relax. She would never, her body would just be curled up and tense. She was never really a baller. She never balled up. Look at that. And then we've got good tongue flicks. I might take her out again later on today and just see how she does. But I don't need to spend 15 minutes with her. We'll just give her that and let her go back in. It's really good. Same day. I just got back from an event. It's 9:30 at night, something like that. It's a Patreon event. It's pretty cool. Had a good time. Let's see how she's doing. Just see what happens here. Oh, good girl. She is totally in position. Ready to go for it. Oh, there's one. There's one. Okay. She got one little bite in. 2 strikes and 1 bite. And a bunch of hisses. Not happy about me handling her this evening. But you know what? Still better than she was, because it at least took her a minute. She thought about whether she wanted to bite me or not. So she used to not even think about it. She's not happy with me this evening. So I don't want to spend a lot of time with this, but I am going to, I'll probably cut the video. I'm going to let her relax a little bit and start moving around and see if she wants to keep biting me or if she'll stop. Because right now she's definitely in bite mode, right? Like she's, you know, that's just kind of her thing right now. So we want to get her out of that mode and then see if she'll, you get it. Anyway, I'm going to cut. We'll give her a few minutes. Hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. When I cut the camera, I went and took my shoes off because I wore some really uncomfortable boots to this thing. And she hasn't really relaxed. She moved around a little bit, but there we go. She's doing that kind of stuff. And I think for her, it's like, it was like she was in a better mood this morning. I feel like, because she didn't want to bite me. Now she's, you know, it's like. So this seems like zero progress at all, right? But we know that she is making progress. She's just kind of in a bad mood right now, and she's in strike mode right now. I think she kind of gets in this mode where she's just going to strike at everything all the time, and that's going to be the situation. By the way, no blood. She's not even breaking the skin. She's just kind of bumping me. I feel her teeth a little bit, but she's not really biting. So I'm gonna wait for her to relax, then I'm gonna put her back. I may not show that because I don't know how long it's gonna be, but I don't want to put her back right now when I've gotten her riled up. I mean, it's my fault, obviously, because I'm moving my hand in front of her face like that. So I'm gonna stop doing that, let her calm down, then I'll put her back. So there she is, basically going hand to hand at this point. I don't want to spend too much time with that, so I'm just gonna let her find her home. There you go. All right, she's crawling right into her paper towel roll right now. And we'll see how she is in the morning. Good morning. Or it's afternoon, actually, at this point. Let's get her. If you look closely, by the way, you can see Echo's nose right there. She's been in that log since 7 o'clock this morning. It's now about 1 p.m., something like that. So, oh, there's a hiss. Let's go outside. Last day, and she's in shed, which is not helpful. So, is this a socialized snake? I guess that depends on your definition of socialization, of what socialized is. She is much better than she was before. She is biting about 75% less than she was when I started. And remember that when I started, I started her socialization process a couple weeks before we even started making this video. So the video is just her last week of socialization. And she is definitely better at the end of this week than she was at the beginning of this week. You know, she had kind of a rough session last night, but other than that, she did okay. You know, she's tongue flicking on my hand, and she doesn't feel like she has to strike it. You know, oh, and look at that. She almost chose to crawl onto my hand. So, anyway, the point is, it takes a lot longer than a week, oftentimes, to socialize a snake. Some babies will get it right away, right out of the egg. They have a few sessions with a handler, and they do just fine. Now let's see, so she's kind of in a strike position. Let's see what happens here. Oh, look at that. A lot better than last night's session. So this takes a while to do sometimes, and it takes patience and repetition. So again, this is not how I would socialize most snakes. This was a special circumstance. I've never seen this before in a snake where they automatically strike at any heat signature. I just thought it would be an interesting video to see how this would work. This was kind of experimental. So I have other socialization videos that talk about other techniques. So if you're trying to socialize your snake, it's usually not about handling them every single day. There are other things to do. So make sure you look at those other videos. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.